after cinema reviews. What is up, guys? Welcome to Boomer Base. Today we're here to talk about The Boy and the Heron, directed by Hayao Miyazaki. It's the latest in his Studio Ghibli films, and it's also won a Golden Globe recently. So let's get cracking. But before we get to the real content, if you end up liking what you see and want to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified anytime I upload. Let's probably never start off with that pow again, but what I thought I'd do is I'd give a quick talk about what the story is about. So a year after his mother's death in an aerial attack in Tokyo, 12-year-old Mahito and his family moved to the countryside, so it's just with his dad Shoichi, and essentially Mahito meets his new aunt slash new stepmother Natsuko, and he's, as anyone who's just recently lost his mum and during some sort of wartime-ish type of thing, is struggling to adapt to that. And then soon a creepy grey heron informs that he has been sent by the master of the tower, where his great uncle disappeared many, many moons ago, and the heron basically teases that his mum is still alive, and Natsuko then goes missing, and then Mahito basically just dives straight in to go try and rescue them and try find his mum. So that's a bit about the film. That's his rough gist. So we'll talk a little bit about what I have seen in Studio Ghibli. I haven't seen every Studio Ghibli film there ever is. I have no idea when I'll have the stomach for The Grave of Fireflies. It's going to be a very hard watch, I already know. And then I haven't seen Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind and Tales of the Earthsea. And I think that's it now. I think I've watched the majority, if not all of them, bar those now, to be fair, in which I've been doing quite well. And I think my favourite up until this film got released, and probably still is, The Wind Rises. And then it probably goes Howl's Moving Castle. I think there may be this now. I did really enjoy it. I've seen some mixed things about it. First off, it has absolutely insane animation. It's something that always happens with Miyazaki's work. It has top tier animation. No one can fault that. No one can deny it doesn't. Some of the fire scenes look crazy good. It's so beautiful. I was mesmerized whilst watching it. All the characters are lovable. It's got the same lovable, comforting style that all Miyazaki movies do. I'm honestly tempted after this to just go stick on one and watch one. They're a type of film that I can watch in dubbed as well. I went to go see this in subbed, and I'll probably wait till it's physically released to watch it in dubbed. I've heard the dub cast is very, very good. And I've enjoyed the dub Miyazaki films I've watched in the past, so I have high hopes for that. I had very high hopes going into this film as well, and they were met. I'd quite happily say this is a good 8, maybe even 9 film quite comfortably. For me, it was a solid 10. That obviously can change after I've watched it, but yep. We're into the after cinema reviews. I've not even spoke about that, to be fair, but welcome to after cinema reviews. This is the latest in the cinema reviews that I've watched. But no, overall, it felt like a very much a Satoshi Kon mixed with Miyazaki. It's got a lot of dreamscape and sort of world building and fantasy world, as the tower itself is like an alien thing, and there's lots of different rooms, realms, worlds. It changes things up a whole bunch. It's nothing new that you haven't seen before with Miyazaki's works. It feels like it's got that Satoshi Kon sprinkle almost with some bits that happen towards the end of the film. But let's talk about the characters at the moment. So, for starters, we have Mahito, who's our main protagonist, the young boy that's recently lost his mum, gets thrown into a new world with a new stepmom, who's honestly really, really nice, and I think he starts to accept that and accept Natsuko as his new mum by the end of the film, and that's pretty obvious by the fact that he goes in to try save her. But, I mean, he looks like other main male protagonists. There's nothing new there. He's got quite a cool art style. He's dealing a lot with grief. He has to go to a new school. The kids pick on him, and then something quite drastic that happens in the film. So, spoiler warning going forward from now. I will talk about spoilers of the film. He essentially grabs a rock, pummels his head in really badly. Not even like slightly. He's bleeding badly, and he has to be patched up, and he's in and out of consciousness for days to not go to like school. And this is when sort of the Heron starts, piping up a little bit. He tries to get a bow, and craft a bow and learn to shoot with a bow, just so he can like protect and like get rid of the Heron and things. But overall, he's a very cool main character. I mean, he has faults, which is a good thing for a main character. Main characters aren't perfect. Throughout the film, I don't think things just fall into place. I think obviously they have to for the fact that it's the film and he's the main protagonist, but it's not like he's some crazy overpowered character, or the story just goes because of him. Like, there's bits where he has opportunities to not continue and things, or not and leave the magical tower, but he chooses not to for the sake of Natsuko, and things. So overall, I think he's a really good main protagonist. The next character I want to talk about is Shoichi, who's his dad. I mean, he's in it very, very little, but he does his utmost best to try. His business is booming, which is good. He's married someone new. He's tried to move on, maybe a bit too quick, but I can't overly judge at all or anything like that. He moves on. He finds someone that is nice, that's going to make things better for him. There's a new baby on the way, so he's got another brother to have, or sister. I actually couldn't tell from the end. And he tries to protect his son. It's all very nice. He's quite like a sweet, just short character. Like, he's a cool dad. He's quite a good looking dad overall. But yeah, I mean, he's a solid character. Nothing overly wrong with him at all. Next, I want to talk about Kiriko. She's one of the main sort of ish side characters. At the place that they move to, there is a bunch of old ladies with broomsticks, and they probably are the star of the film. They're all very funny, lovely. They look like other Studio Ghibli characters. It's great. And one of them comes into the world, the tower, with Mahito, and that's Kiriko, and you see her as a younger version of herself, essentially. Within the tower, there's a little bit of like, not time travel, but it's time distortion, we'll call it, where there are characters from different points in their life in there, and it's nice to see her as a young person. She's protecting, and she's, I think, like protecting and thankful for another character that you meet later on, and she's just a hard, strong female character, which is really positive to see. Next, I want to talk about Himi. So she is another one of the sort of semi-main characters. She has the power of fire, and then there's a small spoiler warning. You've already been warned anyway, but she is Mahito's mother. But she's like pretty much the same age as Mahito now, and things, and that's where the time distortion kind of stuff comes in. But it's very nice and heartwarming. They have a nice hug at the end. I don't think Himi knows, but the fire, I think, is representative of the fact that she dies in the fire and things like that. She said she likes fire. There's a very nice scene where they share a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or jam sandwich, which is really nice. She's not in it all too much, but she steals the screen when she appears on the screen, which is very important. And again, with that fire element, it looks really, really, really good. And then another one of the characters, I'm just going to keep talking about the characters, to be honest. Like, Natsuko is the new stepmom. She's really nice. She does really well straight away with Mahito. She places her hand on a pregnant belly, and he like has a weird sort of like, oh, you can feel it kick moment, and I think that's just really, really sweet. She tries her best. She comes out in a kimono with a bow and arrow with the army of grannies, to save Mahito from the like herons and the fish that are all surrounding him, which is really nice. She's there. She's straight away wanting to take up the role of his mum, and she's kind. She has a scene where she disappears into the tower, and she's going to give birth, and she's been captured by the parakeets, and she's going into the birthing room, in which in that bit she has a weird sort of shouting, being really horrible to Mahito. That bit I didn't really understand, but I'm sure with further watches I will understand it. I'm not calling myself perfect with the Studio Ghibli, nothing like that. I'm a very casual viewer. I've not really delved too much into it. Like, I don't even know the word, to be fair, but like, I'm not a hardcore fan. I've only seen most of the films only once, but I have enjoyed more than not. I think I've only slightly disliked one, and it again wasn't even bad at all. And then just penultimately for the main characters, we've got to talk about the Grey Heron. Now he is quite scary and eerie looking as in different parts of the film. He sort of transforms into this humanoid person, where he kind of wears the Grey Heron as a body. That bit again, I'm not overly sure with. I'm sure future watches will help explain that more to me. The film itself felt very like dreamscaped and things. I was honestly not sure what was going on for a lot of the film. Not in a bad way, but I was like, where's this film going? You know, what's going to happen? You know, it deals with a lot of elements of grief, self-harm, moving on, acceptance, and all that type of stuff, which is just always really nice anyway. But he was a very cool character, especially in his humanoid form, very jokey with Mahito. You know, they bashed off each other really, really well. Robert Pattinson is the one that voices him for the dub, I know, so I'm very excited to hear more of him, especially as I heard him in the trailer as well, so that's really, really good. And I think one of the only other two main characters to talk about are the Parakeet King, who you see towards the end. He's pretty cool. He's just a standard, very, very likes. Subpar, not even subpar is the word, like very small role in the film, but he still stole his scenes, which was really good. And then the Great Uncle, in which, again, not overly too sure with what happened with him. He kind of gave up the world at the end and let them escape and go back to their times, which I think it all kind of took place at the same time, is what I'm assuming. So when Himi goes back as well, that's when she returns back home in her timeline and things. So bit of a semi-complicated movie and whatnot, but still really, really enjoyable. I had tons of fun, and I just felt really comfortable in the film, and in the cinema as well. It's the first time I've seen a Studio Ghibli movie in the cinema as well, so I can only sing its praise. It's won a Golden Globe, it's got some great accolades already, and I think it's really positive direction for anime as a whole. So I can only hope that maybe he does some more stuff in the future, or we just get more Studio Ghibli films of this caliber. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know if you've watched The Boy and the Heron. Let me know what you think. Toodle pip, and tune in for another episode of After Cinema Reviews. Take care now.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. Click the button to keep watching, or click the other video for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.